Isn't it weird that the people crying for democracy are running around like a bunch of little dictators?
Deemed the Celebrity Whisperer by Playboy.
This is the best interview of the day.
Thanks for having me.
You hit the nail on the head.
100%.
Period, yeah.
Touch them, okay? They're cracking me up.
Wear them, baby.
This is good.
Taylor Ferber.
Okay, let me explain. First, I want to start off with a question for you all. Power to the people. What is more likely, that aliens, extraterrestrials, descend upon us and infiltrate and populate our world, or that you have some self-righteous, arrogant pundit refraining from telling us what to do, what to think, and what's best for us for all of 5 minutes? I mean, it's really a toss-up. I don't know about you. I honestly feel like the aliens are more probable at this point, okay? And listen, this is, I like things how I like them. Like sometimes in my real life, it can be my way or the highway. Like I even had I'll never forget, my high school sweetheart, one of my boyfriends early on, called me a little tyrant, saying Taylor the tyrant. However, I draw the line outside of my personal life and in the public sphere and domain. But these other people here, notable people in our media, them no such luck. They can't help themselves. So who do we have first but Joy Reid, on Ozzy Osbourne's crazy train of identity politics? Okay. So in the wake of Kamala's big fat defeat, Joy Reid, who is a Black woman, a host, I believe on MSNBC, goes on TikTok, okay, and just throws all white women under the bus. There you go. There we all go. Like the colors of the wind were gone, okay? And she says, all you progressive, namely progressive white women, if you want to get together and save America and save democracy, we're no longer interested, so don't even ask us and don't invite us.
Hey, I just want to give some free advice to the white progressives, particularly white progressive women who may be thinking about marching against the Trump victory, maybe putting back on the P-word hats and doing that thing. I would just say probably don't send any of those invites to any Black women I'm just going to tell you right now, they're not coming.
We're no longer interested in saving this company. And by the way, the snap wasn't a thing to emulate a Black woman. Okay, I snap all the live long day. I snap all I want. In fact, I just did it in my last episode. So, I don't even need Snapchat to be snapping. Okay, but I find this literally so insane because she says we are just going to focus on ourselves as Black women, on Black men, and all you fuckers are on your own. Insinuating that progressive white women, who, by the way, are on her side and on her team, are to blame for all white women in this country for Kamala Harris losing. They're all to blame. Progressive white women, hold the responsibility and carry the team on their backs of any white women who ever existed. Like, what? And that it's their fault and they didn't do a better job, that white women on the whole, betrayed Black women and betrayed Kamala Harris. And again, like I said in my last episode, the numbers don't lie. Shakira's hips don't lie and the numbers don't lie. So some people like Joy Reid, like the apartheid in reverse queen, like how is any of this productive? I guess has ignored the fact that Trump won in droves for Black people, women, young people, etc., etc. But it's not convenient to the narrative, and so we are going to dispose of it, okay? like your lashes from a wretched one night stand. We're not even going to look at those. They do not exist. Fair enough. But to insinuate, to not only like segregate yourselves and everybody from each other, but to insinuate that the outcome of this election, despite that Kamala was the most unlikable candidate, despite the fact that, again, people came out in droves, regardless of status, race, background, what have you, gender, for Trump, that it is all progressive white women's fault. You have failed. You betrayed Black women. It's outrageous. And again, like I said, might I say, super productive. Nothing like bridging the gap and seeing eye to eye than being like, don't invite us, don't call us, you can't sit with us. Like, okay. So what does this say now? That even women and white women who are cheering your cheer, who have the Harris Walls flags flying high, that they're all racist, misogynists too? So nobody's safe. Huh. Okay. Well, I have a question. If that's true, and if the country is in so dire need of a president who's a Black woman, just because, regardless of qualifications, just because, or that Kamala Harris was actually qualified and a good candidate, then why didn't she get a single vote in the primaries? Was everybody self-hating and misogynistic and racist then? Moreover, if it's so important now, if she really is the most mobilizing, capable, strategic, inspirational, why the flying fuck doesn't Joe Biden, he would have sure loved nothing more at this point than to kick his feet up, call it a day, be in the Delaware sand, letting vanilla wafer cone ice creams melt all over him for all he knows, because he's in a constant state of oblivion. Why doesn't he then just step out, resign, step to the side, and let her rise to the top? There we go. We'd have our first Black female president. I haven't seen that happen. So is Joe Biden, our previous appointed savior, a woman-hating, sexist, misogynist, racist too? Weird. And so all of this complete and utter theatrical nonsense, again, just proves to me and just, illustrates how these identity politics fall in on themselves time and time again. You even have, I know, Sunny Hostin, again, on The View, this lady. This makes me think, like, sidebar, though, with these people, right? And I've had this conversation both in the inner demons of my mind and with people conversing with them, that these are smart women and people. Like, Sunny was a successful attorney, lawyer, like Joy Reid, successful talk show host. Like, these aren't people just plucked off of the street out of a dumpster. So, like, how can they double and triple down on this bullshit? Like, I have to think that they have the wherewithal and are somewhat intelligent to realize that this is nonsense, right? So you have Sunny on The View, which is always like spewing some fucking crazy, like delusional, whatever it is. But she's getting into it with one of the hosts who's talking about how on one of the border towns, I believe in Texas, how 75% of the Hispanic vote went to Trump. And Sunny literally blames it. She's like, misogyny. It's just cold blood misogyny. And the lady's like, it's on the border. It's because it's on the fucking border. Like,
Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the
misogyny.
Border crisis is on their doorstep.
These people will make you literally so crazy. And I really do wonder, like, are they so bought in? Because again, these are arguably smart, successful people. So are they that bought in Do they believe? I think that they are. I think they are. Now, there's a lot. This is why we don't trust the media, period. And we don't believe them to save our souls or our lives. You know, if our lives depended on it. But this is why. And now you can argue with some things, like people coming out of the woodwork now on the left in the media and the House, whatever it is, about how some things are a little too extreme and they're not on board with that. So, but some things you could agree that they never bought that, they never believed it. But I don't know, with these bitches, I'm like, I think that they are so bought in. They can't see anything else. And they really do believe this. Sunny Hostin really does believe that the 75% of Hispanic voters for Trump out of border town are all raging misogynists and didn't want Kamala Harris for president merely because of that. I honestly think Joy Reid believes that leftist progressive white women failed Kamala Harris and every Black woman on the planet and betrayed them and the entire nation. Like, I honestly think that they believe this shit. And it's like, come on. My God, do you, if there's one thing I will say from all this, it's like this water bottle, for all I know, it's not sponsored, so I'm not going to give it more credit than to, but this water bottle could go be the president or go be a host. It's like, oh, it's that easy. They hire just anybody, huh? I mean, really, this gets me into the big D, but not the big D, you think. The big democracy debate, or dare I say double Ds. You know what I mean? Boy, I wish. Boy, a bunch of us wish. But no, we're here with the wretched democracy debate that we've seen tossed around here, there, everywhere, up, down, all around. Okay. So first things first is, I know you've heard this. I know that this has been stated, especially by the right, who's like touting this until the cows come home. But you have Trump, who it is all bare ass out there. But how hard they railed in on this guy, right? Impeached him multiple times, indicted him, arrested him, convicted him, investigated him, literally short of like a probe in his asshole, probably. And honestly, I actually wouldn't even be surprised, right? We know that he, had an affair with a porn star, Stormy Daniels, who he paid off, left Hollywood disgraced after losing, went on, claiming there was election fraud and it was stolen. And yet, he comes back in a historic landslide win for every minority group, for young people, women, across every single battleground state, the electoral vote and the popular vote. So really, I'm going to have a moment of prayer, a moment of silence as I turn my page. Because I, unlike Jimmy Kimmel, fucking crying in his tears, unlike Kamala Harris, I don't read a teleprompter. It's all up here. So while I turn this page, I'm going to give a moment of silence to think, knowing what we know and knowing every day it was we couldn't escape it. It may as well have been blimps in the sky, all this information from the news, okay? Why, oh, why did he still make a historic comeback and basically shit on the left? Is it because the entire country on the whole is just really that misogynistic and, like I've said, self-hating and racist? Or is it because people wanted somebody who was actually capable and best for the job and to get us out of this shithole? Or, I'd argue, but wait, there's more. The little 5'2" Jack in the Box, you never know what you're going to get. Do people not like being lied to? We saw the weaponization of the justice system against him. We saw everything thrown at him. We saw the media lying. We saw people covering up. We saw the double standard, the hypocrisy. And did people say, you know what? I really don't like you taking me for a pea brain. I really don't like you telling me what to think, what to do, what to say. So how about, they're not even manicured, but fuck you. I'd say people don't like it. And you know what a great example is of that is COVID. We were told, first of all, to shut down our very livelihoods and existences. But then the goalposts were constantly moved of medicinal mandates, and then, it's going to prevent you from getting, no, actually this, like, lying left, right, and sideways. Like I said, moving the goalposts, and people have had enough. I mean, that was the tip of the iceberg to what the literal degeneracy that we saw them try to push in this campaign, right? Which is why it didn't work. When it comes to democracy, obviously, and this is something like all these people have to reckon with, but the people did speak. Now, I came across AOC on her Instagram stories a couple days after the election, and people were asking how she felt and all this. And she said, number one, again, this is what I can't stand and many people can't stand, is that they think that they know better. They think they know for us and that we are all fucking stupid. But despite the fact that Trump won by, 5 million people. And by the way, did you see the map of California? Like, a little blue dot somewhere in there exists, I think. And, like, it's crazy. And so she, first of all, says, like, I don't know if people just don't know what they're in for. Like, I think they do, actually, because they spoke and made their choice. But I digress. But again, what this means, they don't know what this means for, here we go with the D word, democracy. And while I'm on this, don't even get me started on the display of, I don't know how to say this, and you know what, I don't need to, of pure men being pussies from all of these late night hosts. Jimmy Kimmel, like, wallowing and crying over this. Dude, get a fucking hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. You have a crew, you have all this people. Like, who's paying these people? A. B, nobody in this crew in the audience can, like, hand you a tissue, a word of encouragement, like, you got this, champ. Like, what is this? The Colberts, the Seth Meyers, like, all of these people wallowing away in their tears. But Jimmy Kimmel specifically saying, what this means for, he lists off all this whole laundry list of things. And then he's like, for journalism and democracy. And I spit my big gulp right on Alex Spitzer swallows. I mean, this was a spitting moment because I was like, dude, for democracy, like, don't even make me laugh. Like, hardy har har. Don't make me laugh. And, they do this, like, again, I'm not even going to go down the list of, like, why that in and of itself is a complete and utter joke, and why no one watches late night, why we don't trust the media to begin with, because of the ones trying to control journalism and, quote, democracy. Get a clue? But, like, again, I thought you people were supposed to be smart. But they talk as if Trump will literally, like, jail. Like, he is like a baby Putin who's going to jail and kill journalists and then pretend it's a democracy and pretend like everything's fine. Like, guys, get a hold, like, pull your pants up, get some suspenders, get a hold of yourselves. And so the reason this is all such a joke is because you look at what's going on in places like the UK, that is a dystopia. You talk about double Ds. Like, is a dreaded dystopian, you like that off the cuff alliteration, nightmare. And by the way, not to fearmonger like so many of these hosts, these joke hosts do, but it's not that far-fetched from us when you have people like Kamala Harris going on and on about how social media and information needs to be, quote, regulated. Yeah, we saw how that worked out.
We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy.
When Mark Zuckerberg himself finally blinked and came out of the woodwork admitting that the Biden administration had pressured Facebook to censor and control information about COVID. He was feeling a little buyer's remorse about that. But you have pundits, high profile people on the left saying the same thing. Like, it needs to be social media, the internet needs to be controlled, needs to be regulated, which is listen, I'm no skier, but that's a very slippery slope. Versus the Elon Musk who are like, no, fuck this. Like, how about we use our brains that are in there working somewhere and we decide for ourselves. So bring it on, like bring on all the information, but no, God forbid. So you have in the UK, for example, these it's really frightening if you don't know. They have these new laws around social media and censorship and, quote, offensive comments online that are like so arbitrary and scary, to where people in some cases who post subjectively, quote, offensive things online are getting worse fines, penalties, and punishments than literal goddamn sex offenders. I'm not kidding. They are literally releasing pedophiles for people posting misinformation, offensive opinions, whatever the fuck it is online. I'm not joking. There's also it's called the Safe Access Law in the UK, in which there are literal what they call censorship zones. And if you are praying in your head, you don't even have to be, like, you literally have to be breathing, arguably blinking, like Mark Zuckerberg, and praying in your head. You don't even have to say anything out loud. Within 200 meters of an abortion clinic, you will be arrested. And there are stories of men, women, people who have, because they argue that pro-lifers being outside these clinics praying could sway women getting an abortion into not getting one. It gets absolutely absurd. So yeah, let's leave it up to this crowd who in one breath is for democracy, but in the other is it not even is in theory for regulating, but actually has. Bitch, I know I've been shadow banned for months on end for a photo of Hunter Biden and tidy whities that you can see in the New York goddamn Post. If I see one more flag, you try to go to tag people. Oh, this person has been reported for posting this. Oh, are you sure you want to look at this? Oh, election this. Oh, COVID that. Yes, bitch, I'm sure. My eyes are blinking. My ears are working. My brain's working. I'm sure. Thanks. So the irony with this whole thing is that these people are so scared, crying, using their little hanky-pinky handkerchiefs to cry their tears over democracy, don't even get what democracy is. So you have Joy Behar, for example, on The View, who, because there was a completely red sweep, because the nation was finally fed up with the left and their antics and their gaslighting and their nonsense, that the right has, like I said, the electoral, the popular vote that Trump won, but also has taken over the Senate, the House, everything. And literally, like, the local theater, the janitor's closet, like, what have you. But this wasn't an outcome that Joy Behar and her friends liked. So what does she say? She literally says there are no checks and balances because conservatives in the right now have a hold on everything. I see. So there's no checks and balances, which our whole system is designed for. There's just no democracy or no checks and balances because it's not the outcome you wanted. Think about that. The people in a historic way came out and they spoke. And so democracy worked. The people made their choice. The people were heard. The people got what they wanted. But I see, because it's not what you like or not what you think is right, it's not democracy. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that, like, literally, is there a democracy for dummies out there? If not, I'm going to pen one right the fuck now. Enjoy, and all your little friends, I will send you free copies, okay? Don't worry, I'll sign your tits on my book tour. It'll all happen. But maybe it's worth thinking about. That's what's scary about all of these people. And if you look at any anti-democratic regime, communism, totalitarian regimes, authoritarian. This is what they do time and time again, and it never works. But they don't only tell people what to do, what to think, how to be, how to get in line. But like all of these little TV tyrants, they tell you what's best for you. Like they know for you. Like they're smarter than you. That's what they're doing. Oh, I know what's best for you. You don't know, but here, let me tell you, this is what's best for you. So that's the biggest irony of them all, is that the people who say that they want it don't actually even get what it is. And so I'll tell you this, again, need I remind you, we the people. I'll repeat, we the people want, participate in, and are fully exercising our rights in a democracy. And you know what? I don't care what people pick, because a democracy is always better than none at all. So to all of these people trying to tell us, like, what's morally right and what's best for us, and you want to give your opinions and tell us about democracy, how about this? As a law-abiding person exercising their First Amendment rights to free speech, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Freedom is more important than being dictated, period.